this is the old spot. You can see the wear and tear in the grass there, and we're moving them to the new spot. This buckwheat's doing awesome. So we got the squash under the insect net. The squash bugs have already found it. They're just hanging out trying to lay eggs through the netting on top of it, so we'll have to do something for that. We gotta trellis up these cucumbers. There's so much work to do right now, it's insane. So many things. Well, here's the other plot with the buckwheat in it for the bees. And there's the bees. And I mowed the contour lines that I put down with Ross, so I want to show you guys that and try and explain it a little better so it makes more sense. So you can kind of see the dark green thing here. That's a ditch. We actually had the chickens over here, so a little bit of the nitrogen runoff from them. Basically that ditch is where a lot of the water goes, but it comes over it and then washes out the back part of the vegetable plot there in between the buckwheat and the vegetables. And then it ends up going over there and causes some issues. And then everything else goes to the well. It's just a natural lay of the land. We want to change that and keep the water here. So I just mowed all the grass and didn't mow the contour lines or the swale lines so you can see them. So the flag right here, and then if you follow it, it goes down that way and curves over in front of the bees. And then the other one is here. The lighting may make that hard to see because it's so bright out, but I'm trying to get a better view here. You can see that natural curve. I mowed the curve the whole way too, so you can see it. But basically, this end, the middle, and the other end are all level points. And this swale will catch most of the water here, coming down from here. And then it will go into a pond, a small pond for the bees in front of the bees. And then when that overflows, it will come into this swale and come back this way. And that should be enough for this amount of land and the rain we get. That should work out really well. And this land's too sloped to do vegetables on, so it'll be like blueberries, some kind of hedgerow planting on the swale, and then we'll do the meat birds in between with the setup we're doing. And yeah, it should work out pretty good. We'll probably be putting that in this winter because there's just no time right now for something like that to be done. It's that time of year where you run the well like all day, so really thankful we got that well grant, or we would be doing nowhere near in sales what we're doing. A lot of the irrigation stuff now is really just keeping the plants cooled down and keeping the seedlings cooled down, because it's so hot they'll literally just like cook and die right after they germinate. So I do.
So
Start starting seeds. Sandy helped start some earlier.
yeah, all the fall stuff: cabbage, kohlrabi, collards, kale.
More salad, head lettuce.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much a weekly thing throughout the summer, but we really got to start thinking about fall now.
I spent most of the day getting this pot ready, the squash pot. We're gonna be doing some greens in here because it gets shade. And yeah, we were low on irrigation supplies, so I had to go get some. Having to move compost, amendments, keep up with irrigation, all types of stuff. Because I know someone will ask, I'll go over this again. This is the wobbler stand. Sorry, the neighbor runs a chainsaw but never cuts anything out, know what the deal is. Everything's 1/2 inch in the little gray PVC things or something. So that's what the tubing goes into. That's 1/2 inch too. Comes in here, goes up the wobbler, also goes to the next one, and then this fits in here. Wobbler goes in there, 1/2-inch pipe, and then very similar on the top. We have another 1/2-inch piece. One side is threaded for the wobbler, and then one side is not threaded for the pipe, and that's it. So, like I was saying last week, we got the overhead here, and we're going to be hooking up the drip after it's planted so that we can water directly into the root zone, and also overhead water like this to cool the plant. Alright, you guys remember the hedgerow we put in? It was permaculture, all that stuff. Well, so one of the reasons that we don't do the wood chip stuff and all that is because our native land just won't respond well to it. And so this is exactly what I mean. Total fail. We totally could have came in here and hand weeded the crabgrass and definitely didn't. So we have like really vigorous summers here in North Carolina, and crabgrass, Johnson grass, Bermuda grass, they're insane, and they will grow through the wood chips. We have a spot in our landscape that we put cardboard down, we put a ton of wood chips down, and the Bermuda grass made it through all of it. I've put wood chips over Bermuda grass about, I think it was 2 feet thick, still came through. So yeah, so the plan for this now is going to be, you know, most of the trees survived, which is good. So I was like looking at it today like, wow, I should probably actually stop neglecting this and do something about it. I weed whacked it to give the trees more sunlight so they could develop a better root system going into fall so they can survive the winter. And this winter we're just gonna come through here with some sort of heavy-ish weed mat deal and overlap it a ton, mulch it extremely heavy, and like the crabgrass was so thick that any Bermuda grass that was there definitely didn't survive, which is good. But there's a ton of seeds for next year. But you know, that's what you get. So on our scale, this small, the kind of just plant stuff and forget about it, I don't really think is well, I knew that going into it. I don't really think it's like a route to take. I think when you're trying to get the most out of an acre, you put the work in to get the most out of an acre. Yeah, so that's summer growth for you. You got harvesting, you got planting, you got fall planting, you got irrigating, you got infrastructure projects, you got landscape projects like that. You know, that doesn't make any money and probably never will. It's more of an ecological thing, so it's not that big of a deal, and not too bummed about it. I mean, it's all our fault. Like, we could have did the work to make it good, but we didn't, so that's what we get. We're still doing bed prep today. It's just gonna be constant for a while. Compost pile is getting really low. We got cleaning things up around here, like just all the random things. So we're not people that are good at operating with clutter and mess. One of the things with the walkways and stuff like that in between the plots is the crabgrass will still grow up in between it. Even if you throw it upside down, it can still root. So things like this, they really bug me, and it's just unacceptable. Tori's gonna clean up and organize like the tool shed, the basement, all that stuff. So like, I think it's important this time of year, stay organized, stay clean, so you go into fall and winter focused. What's up, George? How's it organizing going?
Good. This basement is a disaster.
So many onions still.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and clean up what I can around the onions, but this just became like a catch-all place for like everything.
So that towel on the seed flats is for germinating the seeds, and the fans are going in there so the onions stay dry, and that's helped a lot. Putting that towel over the seed flats just holds the moisture, the basement's at a constant temperature, and everything germinates pretty well. This is like all I do now, shovel compost. This is the 30-inch Dura rake from Haas Tools. So same size as the bed, and I just take the piles and rake half of it one way, half of it the other way, make it smooth, and overlap the piles. You want it to be flat so that when you take the BCS over it, it's easy. Or if you're seeding into it directly, which you can, it's easy that way too. Yeah, pretty much just doing that all day.
Alright, I got the basement like a quarter of the way cleaned up. Just tried to clean up a lot of the onion debris because there's just a lot of like papery, you know, onion skins and stuff. And it looks a lot better, but it's still not like completely done because we still have more onions down here. I'm just gonna have to clean it again eventually.
Addie's enjoying the view of this really cool sky. Harvest day, then we gotta prep more beds to plant more things. Think we're gonna be able to get everything done today?
I don't know.
In a day?
Seeded all these Monday. They're germinating now. They were in the basement, so now I'm just moving them out to the nursery. I'm going to water them really heavy And yeah, that's it.
I'll get the hoops for this. What?
You didn't put the drip back on.
I know. It needs cover and I don't have time, so.
Okay, so accounting tip of the week is depreciation. And depreciation is a way for companies to draw out the expense of an asset throughout its life. So this can be used for tax purposes and it can be used for accounting purposes. It's basically just a way to reduce a company's income and therefore reducing the amount of taxable income that they have by taking the depreciation expense. Instead of expensing an asset entirely in one fell swoop, because a lot of times there's, they're long-term assets, so that it's going to be a large expense. They can draw out that expense and have their net income look better for that year. So depreciation is a non-cash expense, meaning that there's no actual cash transaction during this. So, and there's several different types of depreciation. The most common one is straight line depreciation, which is what we use. And then there's also a couple different kinds of accelerated depreciation. But I'm just going to go over straight line today for simplicity. And so the formula for depreciation, for straight line depreciation, is cost of the asset minus the salvage value divided by the life of the asset. So say you purchased a vehicle for $10,000 and you expect the salvage value to be $1,000, and then you expect the life of the asset to be 15 years. The example formula would look like 10,000 minus 1,000 divided by 15, and that gives you $600 per year. And then most people also do the depreciation as monthly expenses. So you just, again, divide by 12, and that will give you $50 a month in depreciation. And I have a whole spreadsheet for all of our long-term assets that we depreciate, and most companies have like a threshold for when they start doing depreciation. Like smaller companies may have a $500 threshold to where it's considered a longer term asset and they'll depreciate that. Larger companies probably have like a $10,000 threshold. Ours is like 300 or so is when I'll start doing depreciation for that. So an entry would look something like this when I do the journal entries. It would look like depreciation, and you debit $50 for that month, and then you have accumulated depreciation and you credit $50. So I have a big spreadsheet of all the assets, and I just have every month I'll go in and do journal entries of every asset and I'll depreciate all of them. Also, just to explain accumulated depreciation real quick. So accumulated depreciation, kind of like how depreciation is a non-cash expense, accumulated depreciation is considered a contra asset account. So it's basically just reducing the net value of all your long-term assets. So when you're looking for this on the income statement and the balance sheet, depreciation is an expense. It's a non-cash expense, but it's still considered an expense. So you're going to find that on your income statement, and then your accumulated depreciation, since it's a contra asset account, you're going to find that on your balance sheet. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, Casey just went for deliveries, and I still have to harvest all the sun gold tomatoes, all the red cherries, the heirloom cherries, the slicer heirlooms, the regular slicers. I have to harvest all the shishito peppers, bell peppers, lunchbox peppers, jalapeno peppers. And then I have to get ready for farm pickups. And then I have to get ready for the market tomorrow. So a lot to do still, and seemingly not enough time. Kitten, you like that depreciation, little kitten?
Dang, busy day. So I'm starting to lower and lean these guys. Just show you guys this here. These are the clips, and you unwind them and give the plant more string and lower it down. They had hornworm really bad, and yeah, people are growing their own tomatoes, so they're not buying as many, so I don't really care. We'll just let them do their thing, take them out, plant something that people won't grow. Had a massive clogged sink drain that I had to fix today, so didn't even get everything done, but it's alright. The farm pickups went good. It's always good to see everybody here. It's cool that people come out, we enjoy it. Let's show you guys this here. So if you remember pulling the tarp earlier today, I'll just show you the foliage now. And like I was explaining last week, that the carrot foliage in here is bigger and wider, and there's more of it because it doesn't have the intensity of the light. The same thing happens for plants when you take the light away. They turn like a yellowish white color, and that's what you saw when I lifted the tarp up initially, and then it doesn't take long for it to start making chlorophyll and turn green. And actually this lettuce bed, it's all greens here because it gets afternoon shade. It's starting to germinate too. Same thing. Now it's gonna be 92 tomorrow. I'm gonna pull this and put insect netting over it because we're gonna be at the market, and you know, most of the day, and everything just has to sit here with nobody here to tend to it. It's kind of stressful, and yeah, so I'm gonna water it tonight, and the insect net over it will give us some protection tomorrow and not just cook the top of the soil, which, especially with a salad mix like this, that happens all the time. We got more storms coming here. So we got these storms, and then Sunday night into Monday we have Hurricane Izzy-ass, whatever it is. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. Tori's making stuff with leftovers.
Kimchi and sauerkraut.
Yeah, so we got people stopping here on their way to their vacation spot in Tennessee tomorrow. So it's John. John had a CSA when I was like 19, I think, or 20, and yeah, it was cool. So he was into this stuff a long time, way before we were, and they're gonna stop by him and his family and help out and move some birds, flip some beds, probably prune tomatoes. He said work them hard, so if someone says that, we're gonna do it. the markets went decent, and now it's just really cleaning coolers, feeding the chickens again, cleaning up, and trying to chill out for a little bit. Okay, tree of the week here. So if you guys remember chestnut, that's what the fruit looks like when it starts developing. Really spiky. Alright, just had a severe storm. We're still under a severe storm warning, but I think it's gone. So this week is something that if you're in the eastern part of the country, it's native, and you'll see it. So this tip, so if you guys remember the redbud, I talked about the acuminate tip, and that's this right here. It comes off in the end like that. And you can kind of see this open spread here on the tree. And also, my friend Jared was here. He's an arborist that I worked with before. These buds there, he said they'll have a cup shape to them, so they'll like cup themselves together. But this is a really good tree for bees, and my first beehive was under one of these trees, and the honey from it is the best honey I think I've ever eaten. This is a basswood, and looks like a mulberry, but it's not. Scientific name is Tilia americana. You can kind of see this, just the shape of this tree here. You got this smoothish bark right here. And you'll get these white flowers on it and this fruit that is really unique. And this is like the linden family, so more so in the landscape of what you see in your yard is probably a little leaf linden. But the fruit and all that and the flowers should be very, very similar. But for out in the woods, or if you're looking for a good tree for bees, even just the linden trees in general, you can have continuous blooms if you can plant all of them. It really depends on where you're at and your zone and your microclimates and stuff. But yeah, that's a basswood. Pretty cool to see the sun coming through the canopy here. Thanks for watching. Thunder and sunshine at the same time.